Hey everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Horror Movies for Life YouTube channel, and welcome to this 1982 horror movie review as part of my overall 1980s horror movie series. So the movie we're going to take a look at today, I do have the physical media for. I actually have the Blu-ray Synapse, Blu-ray and DVD combo pack for the movie, and that movie is The Dorm That Dripped Blood, also known as Pranks. I From my understanding, there's different versions of this movie that's more cut down, like Pranks. Uh, this is the most uncensored director's cut of the movie that you can get. So, yeah, a crash course in terror. That's the tagline. But let's talk about The Dorm That Dripped Blood from 1982 here. So, The Dorm That Dripped Blood is a 1982 American slasher film directed by Stephen Carpenter and Jeffrey Obrow, written by Carpenter and Obrow and Stacy Giacchino, and starring Laurie Lipinski, Stephen Sachs, David Snow, Pamela Holland, and Daphne Zuniga in her film debut. It follows a group of college students who stay on campus over the Christmas holiday to clean out a condemned dormitory where an unknown assailant began stalking and murdering them. So, on a college campus, a young male co-ed is changed and killed by an unseen assailant. Meanwhile, Joanne Murray and her boyfriend Tim attend a campus party, discussing that their dormitory, Morgan Meadows Hall, has been condemned. Along with friends Brian, Patty, Craig, and Debbie, Joanne is staying behind during the Christmas holiday to help clear the building for its impending demolition. Tim leaves for a holiday skiing trip the next day, while Debbie reveals that she cannot stay as her parents are picking her up later that day. Debbie's parents arrive in the evening and wait for Debbie, who is searching for Joanne's inventory list. Her father gets impatient and leaves the car to find her, only to be bludgeoned by an unseen killer with a baseball bat spiked with nails. Her mother, Doris, is then strangled in the car with a wire garrote. Debbie finds the bodies and faints in horror. The killer drags Debbie's body behind the car and crushes her head by backing over it before driving away with all three corpses in the trunk. So, yeah, that's the setup, the premise, the beginning of The Dorm That Dripped Blood from 1982. As far as the cast goes, we have Laurie Lipinski as Joanne Murray, Stephen Sachs as Craig, David Snow as Brian, Pamela Holland as Patty, Dennis Eli, Dennis Ellie or Eli, Dennis Eli as Bobby Lee Tremble, Woody Rolaz as John Hermit, or I'm sorry, Woody Rolaz as John Hammett, Daphne Zuniga as Debbie, and Jake Jones as Bill Edgar. So yeah, that's the setup, the premise, the cast for the 1982 slasher movie, The Dorm That Dripped Blood. I like this movie. I don't love this movie as a slasher. I like it, and there's one big reason why I give it a little bit more credit than other people do, or than I otherwise would have, which I'll get into here. But other than, let's talk about the things that I really like about the House that Drip Blood, starting with my pros. I think the third act is definitely the highlight of the movie for me. Not only with the killer reveal, but also just the way it plays out as far as who's taken out and who survives and who doesn't. It makes this otherwise standard slasher stand out a bit more because of that third act and how the movie ends. It's not necessarily as traditional or as expected as a lot of slasher movies are. Um, I think the score in this movie is really fun and effective. Kind of has like a Psycho, Friday the 13th hodgepodge sort of score. It made me think of Psycho a lot. But also, there's some Friday the 13th in there. So, obviously, borrowing, if not stealing, from movies that came out before it. I have to say, I do like the final character, the final girl, if you will, of Joanne. I thought she was easy to root for and did a good job in her performance. She just kind of has that she has strength to her, but also a lot of vulnerability. And yeah, I thought she portrayed it very well, especially in the third act. And so um, I could definitely root for her. The kills, I would say, are pretty brutal, even though you don't see as much of them as you might like. This movie was pretty censored, I guess, but there's good practical gore and makeup effects, especially on the cadavers of the victims that were killed after the fact when we see them after they've been killed already. There's some good makeup effects there from a practical standpoint, but there is some blood and gore as well with the kills that I thought were pretty good. So, um, yeah, other than that, it kind of plays out like a standard slasher movie. The story isn't anything too complicated or too different. Basically, you have a group of college kids that are staying back, cleaning out this dormitory before it's demolished. Um, and Yeah, and then some a killer's around that starts picking them off one by one. Um, so let's talk about the things that I don't like about the movie as much. I have to admit I found the setting to be kind of bland. You have like this concrete dorm building with concrete staircases, and it's not particularly well lit as far as the rooms or a lot of the building inside, and there's a reason for that, but that I'll get into here. But I don't know, I just didn't find the setting as a dormitory to be all that engaging or all that good of a setting. I would have liked a little bit more. Now it was a real dormitory. I think they did use a real building, and so you kind of have to go with what you've got. But that's just something that really didn't inspire me watching this movie was the setting. And a lot of it had to do with the lack of lighting, I'll admit, but it was a lot of concrete, sort of paint by numbers, office building space almost. They pushed the red herring character a little too much for my liking throughout the movie to where I kind of knew right away that it's not that character, and that's the problem. Having a red herring's not a problem, but when you don't do a good job of setting them up so that people are questioning whether they're actually the red herring, that wasn't the case here. I didn't have to question it. I knew that that wasn't the killer right away; that it was a clear red herring, and part of it was how the character looked and how he acted. Um, he's kind of a weird-looking guy with the frizzy sort of curly hair and. He hardly said anything. I think, in fact, I don't think he says anything till the third act. And then what he says really is, I mean, that just didn't work for me as well as I think the movie wanted it to. Um, I thought it was a missed opportunity from the whodunit aspect on that. The third act does feel a bit padded out, I will say, despite the fact that I like it. It's my favorite part of the movie, but it does feel a bit padded out for the runtime. There's a lot of hiding and escaping and running and hiding and escaping and rinse repeat, wash rinse repeat, basically. So I did notice that. Um, and also the way that the killer reveals the way the killer is revealed was kind of lazy. I think that could have been handled a little bit better. And then my final con, and this is more of just not knowing. This is more of a personal one. Is I was disappointed with the lack of Christmas atmosphere or aesthetic in this movie because I was kind of led to believe that this was a Christmas slasher movie, like Silent Night, Deadly Night, or even To All a Good Night or Black Christmas. And I didn't get those vibes at all. There's very little Christmas aesthetic in this movie. I think you might see some lights on the wall at one point. Now it does kind of make sense that there's not gonna be because our setting and our characters are all in a building that's going to be torn down. So it's not like they're going to have Christmas trees and strands of lights and wreaths all over the place. So I understand that part of it, even though it is Christmas vacation and or Christmas break, I should say, and you would expect to see a lot of Christmas decor. It makes sense why you don't in this case. But again, that was a little disappointing for me. I kind of went into this, and that's why I saved it for right before Christmas this year to watch and review. Um, there's just not a lot of Christmas aesthetic here. I mean, frankly, this movie could have been done. They could have been going for summer break or spring break or Easter break. I mean, take your pick. Halloween. I mean, there really just wasn't anything there to remind you that it's Christmas season watching this movie. So, I guess that's also a pro. You don't necessarily need to watch this movie around Christmas. You can watch it any time of the year. But it does talk about having a Christmas break where these students stay behind. But I'm not going to hold that against them too much. Here, I'll show you guys the back. There's some special features there, a couple of interviews with the directors and the cinematographer and things like that. You can see Daphne Zuniga. I don't know how you pronounce her name, but of course, she was mostly known for Melrose Place. And I think she's also in the slasher that I haven't gotten to yet, in The Initiation from the 80s. So she doesn't really have a big role in this movie. She's kind of in a couple of scenes. It's her first feature film, as it says here. Um, but I thought she did fine for what she was in. But overall, guys, I was going back and forth between this movie being a 6 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10, and I've decided I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. And the reason I'm going to give it a benefit of the doubt is this is, in essence, a student film. I mean, Stephen Carpenter and Jeffrey Obro were college students that basically made this on a couple of weekends or something. It's why I can't really hold the lack of lighting against them. It's why I can't hold other things against them. Um, I have to say too, I also didn't hate the rest of the characters. I mean, they're not very fleshed out, other than Joanne. But I mean, I thought they were fine. There's been other slashy movies where I couldn't stand the characters. That wasn't really the case in this movie, I wouldn't say. So that's another pro. But I give them more the benefit of the doubt because it's not like this was a Hollywood, not even a Hollywood, but like a studio movie. This was some friends making this movie in college off on their own, and given that, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and give it an extra point. So I'm going to give The Dorm That Dripped Blood a 7 out of 10. It's not one of the best slashers from the 80s, but certainly not one of the worst for me. And again, the fact that it was done by sort of a team of amateurs, if you will, um, I think more was done well given that fact than was not. And so, yeah, 7 out of 10 for The Dorm That Dripped Blood. Go ahead and comment down below your guys' thoughts on this movie if you've seen it, what your thoughts are on it. Do you like it more or less? Why or why not? Please like this video, hit the little notification bell, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It would really help me out for the future content on my channel and my channel overall going forward. But with that being said, I hope you guys are enjoying this 1982 part of the overall 1980s review series. I still have two movies left. The reviews are both gonna be after Christmas. So one the end of this week, and then the next one will be the end of the weekend of next week. And then of course don't miss my top 20 plus one honorable mention for the 1982 horror movies, my top 20. So with all that being said, thank you for watching. Happy holidays or Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay scared. Bye.